Around a year ago, Dawnbreaker and I put together a couple of videos going over the state of tokusatsu distribution in the West. To be fully transparent, I have some regrets about that video, but I think one of the more egregious mistakes that I made was glossing over the situation with Toku HD subs on Tsuburaya's shows like Gridman the Hyper Agent and 1979's The Ultraman. The latter is going to be the focus of this video. And for the sake of clarity, I'm just going to be referring to the show with the name of its titular character, Ultraman Jonius, or just Jonius for short, because if I kept calling it The Ultraman, I think that would get really confusing really quickly. But putting that aside, why Jonius? The show originally came out in English 6 years ago, so why is it relevant again? If you've been watching any of the recent Ultraman ARC episodes airing on Tsuburaya's Japanese channel, you might have noticed there have been ads for a new Japanese Blu-ray release of Jonius set to release in November. It's getting an HD restoration, Dolby Atmos audio remastering, and special features like interviews with the cast. Pretty standard bonuses for what you'd expect from a modern Blu-ray release, just generally good stuff. To coincide with the build-up to this release, the English side of the Ultra fandom has started #FixJonius, with the aim to get the attention of either Tsuburaya Productions or their primary partner for Western distribution, Starlight Runner Entertainment. Whether it's for a reissue of the Mill Creek DVDs or a new Blu-ray release, both of these parties need to know how dissatisfied fans are with the quality of these subtitles and how much they need to be fixed or replaced entirely. So, that begs the question, what's wrong with these subs? Just how bad are they? If you remember what I said about the Toku HD subs for other shows like Kamen Rider Agito and Faiz, many of the same problems apply here. Frequent grammar mistakes, misspellings, bizarre sentence structure, it's all a mess. When you compare it to Tsuburaya's current output on their YouTube channel for recent shows like Ultraman ARC or Blazar, it's genuinely night and day. If you want a detailed look at just how bad some of these lines are translated and formatted without actually having to subject yourself to the full experience, @cafflight on Twitter has a pretty entertaining thread with numerous examples of these errors popping up throughout the viewing experience. Go give it a read if you're curious. I'll link it in the description below. And it's a shame too, because from what I've seen of Jonius, it's a really great show, but I'd never even consider recommending it to a new viewer solely because of these subtitles. So if Tsuburaya ever wants Jonius to do well in the West, it can't be with these subtitles. When Mill Creek announced that Jonius was getting a DVD release, fans had hoped that they'd maybe fix the subtitles, but this was unfortunately not the case. So, as it stands, the Toku HD subs are the only way to legally watch Jonius in English, regardless of platform. So Shout Factory, Tubi, the Mill Creek DVDs, they all have this problem. And going back to Tsuburaya's YouTube channel for a bit here, that's part of why botched releases still being sold like this is so disappointing. Because clearly they're capable of partnering with translators and distributors who can put out good English releases. So the sheer contrast in quality reflects poorly on the company. And it's not even just their recent efforts with English distribution either. Back in July, Tsuburaya announced plans for some of their upcoming projects, namely the new dub for Ultraman The Adventure Begins, as being handled by Okratron 5000, the same studio that's been handling Ultraman English dubs since Shin Ultraman. If nothing else, the announcement of a project on this scale shows that they're open to revisiting older properties for the sake of redistribution. I will add the caveat here that this specific project has some kind of questionable implications for media preservation, but that's its own separate can of worms. The point here is that if Tsuburaya thinks that a re-release can be viable for them, they will put in the resources for it. And resources to put into new subtitles is exactly what Jonius needs more than ever. And ideally Gridman too. So, if you're a Toku or Henshin Hero fan, or you're interested in watching Jonius, or you just care a lot about the integrity of international media releases, then speak up. Use #FixJonius to let the powers be know that Jonius can do really well in the West, but only if they fix the translation and those subtitles. Tsuburaya set a pretty high bar with some of its releases, like its, shows airing on its YouTube channel, but they need to be consistent with the quality. So in case it wasn't obvious, I'm not used to doing very quick turnaround videos like this, so if it seemed rushed or sloppy in some places, I'm sorry about that, but I just really wanted to get this out while the topic was still relevant. I'd like to say thanks to Gun and the rest of the Ultraman Discord server for letting me know just how bad this issue was in the first place. Couldn't have done this video without them. But yeah, thanks to them, and thanks for you guys for putting up with this video and watching until the end. I'll see you guys around, okay?